Hey guys, it's Omer from MMOs.com and another quick weekly news recap of all major MMO news and announcements for the week ending November 9th, 2015. This is episode number 16 of the recap, and the first bit of news, and probably the biggest, is that Overwatch, the upcoming arena shooter by Blizzard, will not be free to play. The game's vanilla version will cost about $40 and include all the heroes and maps. The decision to be buy to play is definitely a bit surprising, as Blizzard has enjoyed quite a bit of success with Hearthstone and Heroes of the Storm. So they've been going free to play for a while, but they just kind of changed course. I mean, I personally haven't played the game yet, but I've heard positive things from friends who have played the game's closed beta. Blizzard also announced that Overwatch will be available on consoles as well. Unfortunately, us PC users won't get to clean house on the console noobs because there won't be any cross-server playing, meaning PC servers and console ones are not on the same server, they are separate. I'm still excited about Overwatch, but I'm a bit sad that it won't be free to play, and I'm curious to see how it'll do. Next up, some Blizzard news, well, some more Blizzard news rather, which probably makes sense because BlizzCon just wrapped up this week. Heroes of the Storm announced the new hero, Cho'Gall, which is unique to the entire MOBA genre as it's a two-player hero. And yes, it's exactly what it sounds like. Two players get to control the same hero. Cho'Gall is a two-headed ogre where each head has his own set of abilities. Cho controls his own abilities and has the sole ability to move the character around, and of the duo is the tanky role. The second player, who plays Gal, is an assassin caster with expertise in shadow magic, so you have a tank and a shadow caster. Cho'Gall will be launching soon, likely a bit before the Cho'Gall Buddy Brawl event, which begins on November 17th, so expect it to launch a bit before then. So it is kind of cool to see Blizzard making such a unique hero. It's something we haven't seen in both League and Dota. I mean, two players on a single guy. Imagine playing him along with Abathur, so you have like two guys. You're missing like two players in team fights, so that could be kind of interesting. And we'll definitely talk about this in the podcast more because it's definitely interesting. Moving on, some industry news, and again from Blizzard. The news this time is Activision Blizzard is purchasing King Digital, the makers of Candy Crush, for a whopping $5.9 billion in order to make a big push into mobile. It's amazing that a company that makes Candy Crush is worth this much, and to put into perspective, Take-Two, the makers of GTA, Bioshock, Borderlands, and more, is only worth about $3 billion. I'm not exactly a fan of these mobile games myself, so I'm not a big fan of the deal, as I hope it doesn't end up distracting Blizzard from making their bread and butter hardcore titles, but we'll see how it actually develops and see what they do with it. But it's still pretty incredible that Candy Crush is worth about $6 billion. That's absolutely nuts. And yes, this is actually the Candy Crush Soda Saga official trailer in the background you guys are seeing. Delicious. Next up, which is actually the last bit of Blizzard news, the news is this time that Blizzard is opening up a film studio, which means they'll be getting into the movie business. They already released a pretty cool trailer for the upcoming Warcraft movie, so if you haven't already seen that, definitely do check it out. Movies are a big business, and Blizzard has always been great at storytelling. Playing through the campaigns in StarCraft and Warcraft as well as Diablo were some of my best gaming experiences, so I hope they can translate that into the big screen. Time will tell if they are successful, though. I think my favorite Blizzard story was probably Warcraft 3. I thoroughly enjoyed that as well as the Frozen Throne. The Warcraft movie trailer you see in the background will be launching, releasing actually, because movies don't launch, they releasing on June 10th of 2016. And it actually looks quite good. I mean, it's a little bit silly, we'll talk more about it in the podcast, but it looks pretty decent. And up next in more traditional MMO news, Terra's new Brawler class set to debut in December. As you probably guessed by the name, the Brawler is a melee specialist that uses fist weapons. The class features a hit counter and rage-based playstyle similar to the Warrior archetype. InMass even says the Brawler's fighting style is more akin to console fighting games than traditional PC RPGs, which actually sounds really fun, but we'll see if they can actually pull that off. The new class launches along with the Knockout update, which adds several other new features to the game, including 2 new sets of endgame armor, Tier 8 Dreadnought and Tier 9 Starfall. 2 new dungeons, Cavalin's Dreadnought and Forsaken Island, are also added to the game. All this will launch sometime in December, with no exact date available just yet. And yes, the Brawler looks a lot like Vi from League of Legends. In more indie MMO news, Starbreak, a game made by the co-creators of the Realm of the Mad God, hit Steam greenlight. An early development version of the game is currently playable on the game's official website. By the time it hits Steam, it'll be more developed. I played a lot of Realm of the Mad God in my day, so I'll definitely be giving Starbreak a try. And the game actually builds itself as a co-op roguelike MMO action platformer, so it definitely sounds exciting. And again, I played a lot of Realm of the Mad God back in my day, so by that alone, I expect pretty good things from Starbreak, but we'll see. Up next, League of Legends is actually finally getting a new client sometime in 2016, at least an alpha version of the client. It'll be releasing sometime in 2016 with a full version hopefully rolling out shortly afterward. Riot is also working on a mobile app that allows players to kind of log in while they're patching on their PC. Not sure exactly what they're trying to do, but they're trying to integrate a mobile app to the game as well. And they've said before they plan on expanding the game's social elements, but we'll see how that actually rolls down. Hopefully with the new client, Riot is actually able to add new features to the game, and hopefully we can look forward to a replay system in the near future with the new clients. I mean, that's a feature we've been missing for such a long time now, so hopefully with the new client they'll be able to add these new features finally. Next up, Incel Games announces that their English service for Massing Soft's World of Fishing has entered open beta. This comes after a 4-month-long closed beta, which is definitely long for a closed beta, but the wait is definitely over now. The game is supposed to be well optimized for beginners and features over 100 changes and improvements to the game to make it more appealing to Western gamers. So it's not a new game, it's been out in Korea for a while, but they're finally releasing an English version of the game. It's not a game I'm really looking forward to because I'm not really a big fan of fishing games in general, but I'll definitely give it a try regardless and expect the first look somewhat soon. And oh, if you didn't know, Massing Soft, the guys that made this game, also developed Ace Online, which is the game I actually played back in the day when it was called Space Cowboy Online. So hey, if they made Ace Online, this one might be worth checking out. We'll see. So yeah, there you have it, an MMO Korean fishing game. We'll see what happens. Up next, Korean developed MMORPG Asta Online hits open beta. Not to be confused with Asta's Story, it's Asta with a T. For those that haven't heard of Asta, it's actually it used to be a much hyped game in South Korea back in 2013. But unfortunately, after release, it shut down pretty shortly afterwards, so it was a bit of a flop over there. So it's a bit weird to see the game revived like years later for a Western release, but it is coming out and it launched on November 3rd into open beta. So I'm already a bit late for my first look, but expect one soon. The trailer you're seeing in the background is their official Korean open beta trailer, and it actually looks really cool. But then again, most trailers do look really cool, but we'll see how the game actually is. Next up, Battle Battalions from Petroglyph Games enters open beta this week as well. Battle Battalions is basically a remake or a reimagined version of Victory Command, and it's available on Steam. It mixes RTS and MOBA elements, and is basically an upgraded version of Victory Command, which was actually a complete flop because almost nobody played it. Honestly, I do want to give a little bit of credit to Petroglyph for creating Victory Command, and it is at least a little bit different than other games. But I mean, still, the game's core mechanics felt weird. It was built around rock paper scissors style gameplay, which made like infantry beat tanks, and tanks do like no damage against infantry. It was a weird system, but it was unique and it was a bit strategic too, and it required some micro. So we'll see how Battle Battalions does. But I'm not too hopeful considering it's Petroglyph Games. I'm pretty sure like every game Petroglyph has made has been a disaster. So I mean, I wish them luck, but we'll see. Up next, Supernova, the RTS/MOBA hybrid, is beginning its second round of closed beta testing on November 16th. The game already finished one round of closed beta testing, and the second one will be coming soon. And will include various updates from the first round of closed beta testing. If you haven't heard of Supernova up until now, it does mix some RTS elements. You play a traditional MOBA, but you can actually upgrade your own minions/creeps. So that's really where the game's twist is. It's still a MOBA, but it's an emphasis on units and creeps rather than just the hero itself. I'm curious whether the game's novelty will actually stick, because I mean, the more games in the genre like HOTS, League, and Dota are still doing really well. So I'm curious to see if this game can differentiate itself, at least enough to make a success. But again, we shall see. I mean, at least the trailer looks really cool, so I'll definitely give the game a try. Up next, Devilian is starting to sell early access packs. Not founders packs anymore, early access packs. They cost $20 each and grant players a 2-day head start, guaranteed beta access, and a variety of additional goodies, including a corgi pet, which is clearly the main selling point over here. It's a bit odd to see Tryon pushing these $20 packs because they were selling some pretty hefty packs for the founders pack earlier. So now they're selling these, I guess, cheaper priced early access beta packs. So it's a bit weird to see them push even further into monetizing players before the game actually comes out. But I guess if you're a fan of Devilian or you're really looking forward to it, it might be worth $20 for you. But I'm just going to wait till release, as I think most people should. But you never know, guys. That corgi pet could be real epic. I mean, corgis are kind of cool. Moving right along, Battlestate Games announced their upcoming MMO-FPS Escape from Tarkov, which, as you probably guessed, is a place called Tarkov. In this case, it's actually a city, and it's in Russia. Players will find themselves working for one of two private military companies in a bloody conflict. The game aims to provide next-level realism, where your character's injuries and physical state will actually affect your in-game movements and other goodies. The game also promises realistic bullet physics, as well as in-depth weapon customization. Players will be able to quest, raid enemy bases, take part in stealth operations, co-op missions, collect resources, and more, all within a player-run economy as well, where players can create their own businesses and stuff. This actually sounds pretty crazy ambitious, so I'm not going to hold my breath until I can actually play it myself, but it all sounds good on paper, and the game's beta is expected to begin in early 2016, so it'll at least be playable somewhat soon. And yeah, the game actually does bill itself as an MMO FPS, so maybe it'll be the only other actual MMO FPS out there, along with PlanetSide 2. But again, we'll learn more as the game comes closer to release. Especially since the video we're looking at right now, the official reveal trailer, doesn't really show too much because it's mostly cinematic content anyway. The next and last bit of news this week is from a game called Goko of War, which was just recently announced. The game is an online chibi shooter with instance gameplay made by Japanese company Peakvox. So it's one of the only Japanese developed games out there. There's really not that many. You have tons of Korean and Chinese games, but not that many Japanese ones. But anyway, Goko of War is actually pretty similar to Dungeon Fighter Online in that you have these bigger lobbies and you break off into 4-player parties and do quests with other players. The game aims to bring a quote-unquote adorable MMO experience and will actually have a pretty strong emphasis on crafting, as over 350 garments can be made out of 60 different material types. So I guess adorable and player customization are kind of going hand in hand with Goko of War. And it's all beginning on November 18th. So I guess mark your calendar if you like the trailer you're seeing right now. I mean, visually and gameplay wise, it does look unique based on this trailer. I'll definitely be doing a first look for it as soon as it's out. Anyway, guys, that's it for MMO news. I'll see you guys for the podcast tomorrow. I'm sorry if the audio quality on this came out pretty poorly. I'm in a new environment and I'll be fixing it for the next video. And hopefully it's not too bad. Sorry about that again, guys. Later.